Welcome to Park Bench Interviews, hosted by Randy Goodman, Harvey Callis Real Estate, your real estate professional. Get to know our community, our businesses, products, and services that will elevate your life. Please welcome your hostess, Randy Goodman.
It's Randy here from Harvey Callis Real Estate, and I am honored to be here with Sara Dimerman, who is a psychologist and an author, and we're going to learn a lot about her today. So thanks for being on, Sara.
My pleasure.
Okay, perfect. So Sara, tell us a little bit about who is Sara and what do you do?
So I wear different hats. I say that primarily in my work career, I'm a psychologist and author, as you mentioned. I've also recently become the radio show host of a new show called HelpMeSara, which is actually my brand name. And that airs every Monday, that's today, at 3 p.m. on a station called Saga 960 AM. So
Okay.
people who live in the Peel region can listen to it through their radio channels, but everybody else globally and community can listen on the internet at Saga 960 AM. So that's my career. And then aside from that, I'm a mom of two grown daughters, one who is soon to be 21 and the other one is 28. And I'm married and I have two beautiful Siamese cats. So I try to juggle career and family and always made that a priority for me.
I love that. I love that. So what led you to do what you do, Sara? I know, at some point in your young life, you would have decided that psychology was something you were passionate about. So, but then it led to other things as well. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay. Well, actually, I was born in South Africa. And came to Canada with my family. I'm one of four siblings. I'm the oldest of four girls. We came with my parents, and then later my grandparents joined us. And we moved to Toronto in 1977, I believe. So that was many years ago.
Yeah.
I was 15 at the time. When I graduated high school and wanted to go to university, I actually first wanted to go into speech and language pathology, because in South Africa it's quite common to take speech and elocution lessons, and decided against that for some reason or another. And actually my undergraduate was in radio and television at Ryerson. So that's actually where my career started out, was in broadcast. When I graduated in 1982, it was during a period of a financial recession and it was very difficult to find work. And so I worked for a bit as a radio station receptionist and did odd jobs here and there.
Okay.
But for some reason, I just thought, as much as I loved specifically radio actually and writing, I didn't really love the whole media world. I didn't feel that it was really me. I wasn't authentic in it.
Okay.
At the time, I had just gotten married and had known my husband for 5 years before we got married. I guess my boyfriend at the time. And he encouraged me to continue or to consider a career in psychology, because I think the reason I loved radio so much was because it gave me an opportunity to interview people as guests and get to know them. And looking back, my friends who I'm still in touch with from when I was living in South Africa tell me that I was the person that they always used to come to with their problems. So I guess I was a psychologist way before I became trained as one. And so after graduating from Ryerson, I actually went back to the University of Toronto and got my master's in Assessment and Counselling.
Wow.
And then from there, I worked at a couple of different agencies, but within 2 years of graduating, I opened up a private practice. So I opened up my private practice in 1990. So it's 30 years this year that I've been in private practice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So I've always been in York Region. I'm very community minded. I started out in Thornhill for the last 29 years. And then last year left my location in Thornhill and moved 5 minutes away to Richmond Hill. So I'm still staying in York Region, and that's what I know and love best. And I'm very, as I said, very community minded. So that's kind of been my journey. And from there, as we mentioned, I've had the privilege of being able to publish 5 books, 3 for parents and 2 for relationships, for couples. And then, it seems like my life is going almost full circle again, because I approached a radio station recently and talked to them about a HelpMeSara show. And so that started a couple of weeks ago. I interview different mental health professionals on various different topics. So last week I interviewed somebody on the psychology of trauma. This week I'm interviewing somebody who's an author of a book called We Don't Talk Anymore, all about estrangement within families. I have an interview coming up about how to cope mentally and physically during a pandemic or a crisis. So I try to make them current, but also around topics that I know people really want to know about, not just for now, but forever.
Mm-hmm. And that's really important. And I love that you're putting out content, because people are home and quite a few of them are trying to figure out what to do. And
Yeah,
it's a great way to educate yourself and
absolutely.
live healthier, whether it's physical, food, mental, whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's really important for the holistic
The
body.
whole you, the body and mind. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love that. So thank you for sharing that knowledge, and, continue to interview people, and
Yes.
and now you get to
Exactly.
be showcased.
Exactly.
Which is
Exactly.
probably something you're not used to. So, Sara, I know you're involved in the community as well. You love to give back. Can you tell us a little bit about what's important to you?
Well, when my kids were younger, I was always very involved in parent councils, and was actually pregnant with my second child when I was the chair of a parent council. Further to that, I actually worked in the community to be a founding member of the Eileen Willowbrook Ratepayers Association, which is in the east part of Thornhill. And that's still ongoing. I'm no longer associated with or part of that, but worked with them for several years in looking at different things in the community, whether it be a new railroad crossing, or ideas that the town had that we would talk about as members and have a voice, as a united voice around issues. I then also, there's a small parquet near my home, which was just lots of overgrown trees and bushes. I got the town to get involved with that, and so we ultimately dedicated the parquet to a gentleman who has since passed away, who was a Holocaust survivor by the name of Felix Apatowski. And so the park is named after him now. I got the town involved in partnering with a tree planting ceremony where we got the community members out, along with Erin Shapiro, who was the, what would she have been at the time? I'm not going to get her title right, but she was working with Markham. She was would it be a counselor? Anyway, it's not coming to me right now, but she was very involved with us at the time, and we helped to plant trees and to make the parquet more livable. So at least now they have different picnic tables, and they have areas that kids can work around. So as I said, I've always been very community minded. And then, as I mentioned earlier, from a professional point of view, as you said, I have a very current website, helpmesara.com, and I populate that with new content all the time. So whether it be the weekly Help Me Sara show, and previous to that, a podcast that I produce once a month in a very similar vein to what I'm doing now, and also writing. So I've written for the York Region newspaper group for about 40 years now, and continue to write for them online. The papers are very small right now, unfortunately, so not a lot of room for my columns there anymore. But those things I don't get paid for: my podcasts, my blogs, my community writing. So as you said, content to me is really important. And even my books, I've made sure that the books are on topics that I hear are of interest and concern to my clients all the time. So I feel very blessed and fortunate that I'm able to intertwine everything that I do in life, so that I'm able to hear from my clients what they need and then write books about it. And so it's all of my columns, and my children, of course, have been a great source of inspiration over the years. People who have followed my columns have gotten to know my kids and gotten to know me, because I tend to be pretty transparent when needed.
Okay.
I'm not the kind of therapist that just listens and doesn't talk. So
Right.
if there's something that has gone on in my life that I think is relevant and will help my client know that I understand what they're going through, I'll share that. And I think,
Okay.
in my columns, I do the same. I write about myself, I write about my cats, I write about my children with their permission, of course.
Yes.
So I give back in that way.
I love that. I love that. And thank you for doing that.
My
Can
pleasure.
you tell us a little bit about, because, we do have a little bit of a special circumstance going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
How has it changed your business?
Well, it's interesting because last year I had foot surgery and I was immobilized for 3 months. And at that time, I started to provide telecounseling to my clients. So that's
Okay.
online counseling through the telephone and through video. So most of the time I preferred telephone counseling at that time because I was, as I said, immobile in bed. It was difficult to get up and get dressed. But occasionally, if I had a video counseling client, I would throw on a pashmina and I would sit there with my nightgown underneath. So that gave me at least an opportunity to really experiment with developing a very safe online platform from which to provide clients with video counseling. And so for me, it wasn't as big a leap
Mm-hmm.
when we had to go online,
Right.
because I would say 99% of my colleagues are seeing clients online, especially those who are in private practice.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, all of my counseling now is online, telephone and video counseling. I'd say that my practice is still about 75% as full as it was when I was providing an in-office practice.
Okay, good.
And I think it's, the first week there were less people, and every week it's grown because people at first said, we'll wait till you come back to your office. And then they realized that that may not be anytime soon.
Right.
So anytime that I've encouraged clients to at least try the video counseling, they've actually been quite surprised at how effective it can be and
Mm-hmm.
how you can still connect. The only problem has been for some clients is privacy. So some clients will speak to me or see me through while they're sitting in their cars.
Right.
They can't go very far. So
Right.
that's been the only limitation. So that's how my practice has changed. I mean, I am looking forward to the day where I can go back to my office. There is something special about being in person with people that you're counseling, but for
Yes.
now, it's a good option. And my colleagues, my field has been just incredible in terms of putting out free content to therapists. I think most professions have done the same.
Mm-hmm.
Even myself, I'm actually offering a mom support group for moms who are at home with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our first meeting. We're doing about once a month. So we had our first meeting last week, and I encouraged moms with young kids to join me and to talk about. I talk about struggling with the juggling. For a lot of moms, it's hard on all parents, but I find moms tend to be struggling a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're working from home.
Right.
So that's changed. A lot of helping, a lot of people who were providing service for a fee. There's a center called the Leading Edge Seminars, and I go to them about once a year for professional development. And for several weeks, they were offering noontime seminars for therapists on all different topics with all different guests at no charge. So
Well,
those kinds of things I've really appreciated having the option to take part in.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving back the same way, right? Being able
Exactly.
to share valuable information like we're doing here.
And the mom support group I'm offering at no charge.
Oh,
So
nice.
that is another way for me to give back.
Okay, perfect. So when we're at the end, which we're getting close to, you can share some websites and contact info, and we will
Sure.
also definitely have it on the page for you guys so that you can find Sara easily and tap into some of her great information. So Sara, do you have any tips or suggestions for people having to do with anything?
Well, I think top of mind right now is just living through this pandemic. It's something that none of us in our lifetimes, well, most of us have not experienced. My bottom line for everybody has been to really, and I know it sounds cliched, but just to really live one day at a time, to not get into the what if thinking or the catastrophic thinking in regards to when will this end, how long will it be, will we ever get back to normal. We all have those thoughts, but if we are consumed by them, it could make this time a lot more difficult and a lot more anxiety provoking. So when I woke up this morning, I was looking forward to talking to you. I went down to my kitchen and I saw how beautiful the sunshine was. I look at the birds outside my window. I go for walks, and I really try to enjoy simple pleasures one day at a time. And I think that's how we need to manage this, is one day at a time.
I love that. That's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
It'll really help those people who, may have negative thoughts going through their head, and just try to find those positive things in every single day.
Right.
Even if they're little tiny things like going for a walk, getting some fresh air.
And actually, having said that, on my Facebook page, my HelpMeSara Facebook page, for the first probably 3 weeks or so, every day I was coming up with one small positive outcome of the pandemic. And now it's not as regular because I'm running out of things to say, but I try and go on as much as possible. Little things like, not having to wait up until 2:00 for your teenager to come home from a party, things that we might think about, but I'm really trying to hone in on all of the positives. And so that's another place that people can go to just reflect on some of the positives that we're experiencing.
I love it. Thank you. And yes, we're definitely going to have the pages for you guys so you can find Sara and be able to tap into this info and share your info too. Share your contacts or your comments on Sara's page, and let her know how she's making an impact on you. So thank you, Sara.
Thank you.
Can you share any contact info that you'd like to share with us so that they can tap into everything that you're up to?
Sure. So they can go to my site, which is helpmesara.com, and Sara is without an H. So helpmesara.com. It's the same as my Twitter handle, my Facebook name, and also saga960am.ca has archived podcasts of my show, as well as every Monday at 3:00. And if anybody wants to contact me, they can do so through my website, through my contact page, or they can call me at 416-729-4111.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sara, for being
Randy.
with us and sharing.
Thank you so much. Continue the great work you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this interview hosted by Randy Goodman. We hope you will take action and connect with the incredible business people and leaders in our community. And remember, Randy is always here to answer any questions you have regarding your real estate needs. Be sure to register on the website and stay up to date on what's happening in your area at parkbench.com/millpond.